Good afternoon. I apologize I'm a little late today, and I will be perfectly honest. The reason is the hair. I have, it's really getting to me. I don't know. I still haven't watched that video on cutting your own hair, but I did see another one on cutting your hair, but it looked like there was two housemates and one was cutting the other's hair. And because Tish has not got an opposable thumb, I don't think she could help to cut my hair. So having my cat help me cut my hair is out of the question. So we're just getting a little crazy. I did get some hairspray so I can spray it down and hold. I'm learning to let it be with that. I've got a theme for my day today. I invite you to consider adopting it. I have declared today being Do It Now Day. Do you have any little things on a to-do list that you've been avoiding for whatever reason you've been avoiding them? Well, I have. They're tasks that seem so teeny, but they're just troublesome. Well, I'm doing it now today. I have a list. I'm going to just twist this real quick to show it to you, and then I'll come back. That is actually a whiteboard that I use with my great-grandson when we visit on the portal, and we draw pictures and stuff. But I've got a list, and I check off things, daily things I do on one side and individual things I do on the other side. And the purpose of that is to keep me focused on what it is I want to get done. Now, here's the trick. I check off the things that got done. The next morning, what doesn't get done has to be the first thing to get done today. And of course, we always have to remember that as we're doing things, unexpected things to do pop up. And that's great. And it's not like we're in the army and we got to make ourselves a regiment of every moment. But it does help to have a guide. And I really think that has a lot to do with how we are able to cope with this time alone. Like I say, for me, the time is flying. So, and I can't believe it's Friday already and like the 38th day. Now, in 4 days, it's going to be 42 days, which is 6 weeks. And they say it takes 6 weeks to make changes in your life. And it's also called the period of adjustment. So in 4 days, you should start to realize a feeling, a shift in yourself of becoming adjusted to life as we are currently experiencing it. And that should be a very good thing. If you crash and burn, get help. You need to talk to somebody because that means you're not adjusting. And you know what Darwin said, survival of the ones that are able to adapt. I want to visit yesterday for just a second because there was a couple things I had kind of left out. The first one was that I didn't tell you. I tell you usually every day with the power and where it's located in your body. And the physical center for the spiritual faculty of renunciation or elimination is very likely the bowels. So everything, remember we talk about the digestive system, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, we ingest, we digest, we assimilate, we eliminate. So yesterday talking about the renunciation was what we eliminate and let go of. And I don't know that I was very clear I don't know that I mentioned a part of it is we let go of things we have outgrown. That could be our clothes, but it could also be our belief system. And sometimes it's even people in our lives. Now, when I say outgrown, I don't mean somebody is better than another person. I just mean that they're coming from a place that you're not coming from anywhere, and you don't want to go back there, and it's okay. And we love them, we bless them, we release them from our daily interactions if they're not working well with us. So that's perfectly okay. So the last thing about letting go, of course, whenever we declare something, all that is unlike it comes up for healing. It means we get a lesson. So yesterday, you know, those to-do things, I kind of started my do it now thing. I was trying to research because I ordered a little SD card for my camera, and it hadn't arrived, and it hadn't arrived, and it hadn't arrived. I wonder when that is coming in. So I looked it up, and it said it was delivered on March 28th. That's going on a month ago. And I still don't have it. So I thought, could I have missed it somehow? I looked, it said it came the same day as some tea that I ordered had arrived, but it wasn't in the box. I knew it wasn't in the box. Then I read the delivery instructions, said he left it in the mailbox. I left it in the mailbox. It had never been in the mailbox. Then I got a little concerned because I usually go through my mail and I drop it, anything I'm not using, I drop it in the recycle before it gets in the house. So it's like, could I have put it in the recycle? Could I have put it in the pile? When my mail comes in, I just put it in a pile and leave it there because I want to make sure there's no virus germs on it. And I looked through everything. Well, you know, that knee-jerk reaction came to me, that feeling like, oh my gosh, you know, oh my gosh, it cost me money. Now that money's down the drain. Oh my gosh, what if I can't get it back? The delivery said they put it in the mailbox. What if somebody took it? You know, and all this human stuff started coming up. But then I had to remember, I had to let go of any energy around it. If I threw it in the trash, I threw it in the trash. I will say, I went outside and I tipped over that recycle bin because it's like bigger than I am. Tipped over that recycle bin, got a stick, pulled everything out of it, mushed around in the recycles, shoved them back in. It was not there. Called my sister. She didn't have it. Then I let it go. You have to let it go because, first of all, if I want to get upset about the $8 that the SD card cost me, I would be wasting time. I did my best, okay? I wrote the guy a letter, you know, a note, email that sent it that said I didn't get it. You know, it wasn't in the mailbox. And then I let it go. Whether I ever see that SD card or not doesn't matter because God is my source. I have a source of universal good, and so do you. So if something like that happens, you know, don't let it get to you. Let it go through the power of elimination. You can do that. Well, today we're talking about wisdom. And, you know, a song came to my mind as I was thinking about letting go. And that song was from the Beatles, Let It Go. And the first lines of it say, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Ah, Mother Mary and wisdom. Metaphysically, Mary represents our higher intuitive sensing, the mind, the emotions, or the higher sensing. And we have to get into that sense that everything is okay and we can let it be. So, it's funny because the let it be and the wisdom yesterday and today have come together. I learned from it, and I hope my sharing with you will help you get some value out of it as well. So, what is this power of wisdom, and where is it located? In the physical body, the spiritual center of wisdom is in the solar plexus. Now, we've talked before about the power of divine law and order, which is at the navel, and that is that gut feeling. On the other hand, the center for wisdom in the solar plexus is that part that says, that's true. That's true. And so that's where we listen. See, there's knowledge and there's wisdom. And we can have all the knowledge in the world, but without wisdom, which is the ability to use and apply the knowledge we have, what do we have? You have wisdom if you're willing to utilize it. Wisdom is not utilized in the lower human part of our consciousness. It is utilized in the higher spiritual, intuitive sensing. That's where those aha moments are. That's when knowledge and wisdom, knowledge comes together with experience, and or knowing and forms wisdom. Knowledge is knowing about. Wisdom is knowing. Let's say you have a chance to meet, I don't know, I'll think of some kind of someone you admire very much. Let's say a celebrity. Let's say Denzel. I always go to Denzel. So you can know about Denzel. You know about them basically through the roles they play or through what the news has to say about them. But until you actually meet Denzel, you don't know him. And sometimes, even after we know someone for ages, we find out after years of knowing them, there was more to them than we thought. But to have wisdom is to take what we do know and reach up to its highest form in our mind and let wisdom come forth. We on the human, when we're in our human consciousness, we operate from, it's called common sense. Common, everybody knows it, sense. That's a human level of knowledge. However, wisdom is application and understanding of that knowledge. It is uncommon knowledge. A great goal for humankind is to move from common knowledge to uncommon knowledge, and I invite you to do that as a project every day. Take a few minutes, prayer meditation, and open up. You can say to God, very beautiful, simple prayer, reveal that which needs to be revealed, heal that which needs to be healed. Whatever you need to know about that circumstance, let wisdom come to you. It's said in the Bible that God came to Solomon and said, okay, you're going to be leading the people. I will give you anything you want. Ooh, can you imagine God showing up for you and going, what do you want today? I'll give you anything you want. What would you ask for? Well, Solomon asked for wisdom and an understanding heart. And he came to be known as the wisest king of all time. Wisdom and an understanding heart. Knowing was not enough. And I think if any of us know the story about Solomon and the two women who claimed the same baby, and it's a horrible story. I mean, well, it has a good ending, but it's a horrible thought. And it took great courage for Solomon to lock in with that knowledge. But it said that two women came to him with a baby to decide whose baby it was. Both women claimed it was their baby. And, so Solomon said, well, I'll tell you what. If you want to fight about the baby, you just cut it in half and you can each have half. And, of course, the woman whose baby it was not said fine, but the mother said no, let her have the baby. And therefore the wisdom of Solomon knew who the real mother was and gave the real mother the baby. That's what wisdom is all about. How many times have you had to make a decision, this or that? That's where we employ wisdom. I've got a great way for you to exercise your wisdom. Let's say you have an important decision to make. Maybe you're purchasing something, or maybe you're making a decision about a relationship, or whatever it is. See my hands? This is like a scale. And if you say, okay, this is decision A, this is decision B. And you close your eyes and you get the feeling. If I made this choice, what do I feel? If I make this choice, what do I feel? Now, you can't be doing this in the lower realm of human consciousness because that's where the confusion comes in. You lift it up. One of the choices will give you a sense of urgency. The other will give you a sense of peace. Always go with the sense of peace. That is where the right answer is, the higher answer. Maybe I can step back a few about what I just said about whether you make it in the lower. I think the urgency would be coming from human consciousness and the sense of peace would be coming from higher. Excellent point. You learn something every day, even when you're trying to teach something. We have lessons to learn about ourselves in our current experience and about what the coronavirus is trying to teach us. Well, we could say it's teaching us it's a killer. It's teaching us that we can't control it. It's teaching us that we have to stay inside and we can't do what we want. We've got to look farther away. Take a step back. Take a step back. Look at some of the effects. You remember? All the spiritual law is cause and effect. So if we consider the effects, what's an effect of the virus? We are all separated. Yeah, that's so we don't get the virus. Well, yes, but let's step back farther. Look at all the times we have been, and I know I've said this like almost every day, but I'm going to take it till we really ingest, digest, and assimilate it, that we are not born to be separated. We are born to be together. We are born to grow through the human touch, through human interaction, through conversation, through experience. Yeah, you know, that's what we were born to do, to gather together. And now we're prevented. And I think that it's very possible that that's a lesson that we have to learn about the importance of being together, the importance of human touch. And what is it? What is it that caused the division? So the cure part of our division is to find the original cause. Why do we think we're different, we're separated? That's what's going to have to be addressed. Now, another interesting effect of the virus is that a predominance of elderly people are being affected by this. Well, it's physiological. Their bodies are old. Some of them have pre-existing conditions, which is doesn't help us understand the young people that are, being gravely affected and dying from it. So if we look at the fact that it's affecting our elderly, we ask ourselves, what is our relationship with the elderly been? I used to work in a convalescent home many, many years ago. I was a recreation director. I was the epitome of that song, Ain't We Got Fun? That was my whole job, was to bring fun to these people. One of the saddest parts about being in that position was that the elderly people were isolated from their families. We became their families. There was no coronavirus back then, and there was no reason not to be there. There was a time when the elderly were considered wise and when their wisdom was sought out and their stories and their understanding of life. Did our distancing ourselves, is the fact that these people are being affected so deeply, does that give us a message about maybe we shouldn't have disregarded the importance of our elders? Now that I'm one of them, I think that's even more important. What about the fact that it's a respiratory disease? It is attacking our breathing. And what about the pollution that we've brought to the planet? The planet can't breathe. I know, I say it almost day, the planet is breathing. Are we learning that lesson? That's a lesson we can learn from the virus. Again, in order to learn, we've got to back way up and look for the original cause. They say it originated in areas that were very overpopulated and tight, in a too tight relationship with animals. Is that a lesson that we have to learn about overpopulation? You know, we have our choice. I'm all for family. I'm all for having kids, man. I wanted, when I was a little kid, I couldn't even play with my dolls because they weren't real enough. I couldn't wait to be a mommy and have babies. And that was one of my favorite parts of being a woman. So I would never want to deny anyone that for sure. But do we have to start making sense about our population? How about cramming animals into things? How about abusing animals? Look at, now it's the slaughterhouses that are being, affected. I remembered seeing a picture a few days ago of one of the Smithfield slaughterhouses, and there were all these little piggies, and my soul just like, oh, it just wrenched. And I looked at him, and it affected me so badly. I wound up having a very bad dream. I don't want to talk about it because it was that horrible. But I think that's it. We have to look at our relationship with animals. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not saying everybody in the world has to be a vegetarian, but I am saying that I think we overdo meat, and we overdo all kinds of eating. I'm the one that knows this, but that we need to look at how much. What are the lives of the animals that we're eating? What was their life experience? I can go into that very deeply, but that's not what this series is about. And so do you see how we are being brought lessons by the virus? Now then there are the people that say, is God punishing us? Well, punishing? Trying to teach a lesson, helping us to come to a higher understanding. I think that's for each one of us to take some time in their own prayer and meditation and get guidance. But this is one thing I know, and it's a promise I can make to you, without a doubt. If we don't learn in this time that we have now, this opportunity we are being given through the lessons the virus is bringing to us, if we don't change, we will be right back there as soon as we're out there. Think about it. What changes can we make? What changes in our lifestyle? What we are so wasteful, my friends. I've visited around the world, and I love my country, but it's one of the most wasteful countries in the world. We have to learn not to waste. We have to learn to reduce, reuse, and recycle. One last quick story. It's about the wise and foolish virgins. And I don't know if you know this story, but it's in the Bible. There were 10 virgins, and they were going to meet a groom before the big wedding. And they had lamps to carry so they could greet the groom and get him back to the village with their lamps. Well, 5 of the virgins were very wise, and they brought extra oil because they didn't know when the groom was coming. The other 5 virgins just filled their lamps with oil, and off they went. Well, the groom was very, very late in coming. And the foolish virgins, their lamps went out. And the wise virgins said, sorry, we need our oil because we're going to be here to greet the groom. The lesson to us in that is to be prepared, to be ready. Maybe it's going to be late. Doesn't matter. We'll be ready. You are wise. I invite you to use and enjoy your wisdom. I got one last thing. Sorry, I try to keep it short. The last thing was about the 9 incapabilities of the Buddhist faith. It says that once a person a student has achieved enlightenment, they will no longer be capable of 9 things. And those 9 things, that's what we're working toward as we work toward our spiritual evolution. I don't have them to read to you today, maybe tomorrow, but it's 9 incapabilities. You can look it up or you can wait and I'll share about it tomorrow. In the meantime, know that I behold the divinity in you. I hope you have a bright, beautiful, better than average day. Thank you so much for being with me.